All right, girls, this is a very brief video on some application worded problems. And, and in actual fact, you have done all of this sort of stuff and all of the skills are exactly the same. It's solving linear equations. Now, it says here a plumber charges a $50 call-out fee. You might have also heard of in some of the other questions like a flag fall or something like that. For example, in the past when you used to make a mobile phone call, it used to be charged a certain amount just the moment you made that call. Well, it's sort of the same thing. The moment that plumber arrives, he or she charges $50. Then we've got $70 per hour, and the total cost is $295. Now, please answer the question and read the question carefully. It says just quickly, define a variable. Now, define a variable means, it doesn't just mean let's just state a variable, let's state what it is. Okay, so it says here for the length of visit in hours. Now, I could use H, I could use L. I'm going to use H, and H is the number of hours of the visit. So wherever I see a H, that's going, and that H is a variable, that's going to change. A plumber could be there for 3 hours, which means that the H would be 3 hours. Plumber could be there for 2 hours, which means that H would be 2 hours. Now it says write an equation to describe the problem. Now, it says here that the total cost is $295. So $295 is actually how much he charges. But the unknown is, well, we don't know actually how many hours he was there. Now, if he charges $50 for a call out, I'm just doing this in dollars just so it makes sense. $50 plus $70 per hour. So if I was to multiply that 70 times it by H, then that's the equation. An equation has an equal sign. I noticed I was walking around the room and quite a few of you just had the right-hand side of the equation. Well, that's not an equation because it doesn't have an equal sign. Ruby, you had a question. Doesn't matter. No, that's fine. Now, we're going to simplify this because we do know that this is in dollars, so this is in dollars as well. So I'm going to just forget about the dollar sign for now, and we're going to just simplify that a little bit. That's 295 is equal to 50 plus 70H. Okay, and that is our equation. Now it says solve the equation algebraically. So now what I want to do is I have my equation, and girls, what is the furthest thing from the 70H? The plus 50. So we need to minus 50. Very good. So we minus 50 from both sides, which gives us 245 on the right-hand side, and then we've got 70H. Now, what we have to do now, Ruby? Divide by 70, absolutely, well done. Okay, divide by 70. Now, as it turns out, when I do 245 divided by 70, 70 divided by 70 is just 1, so we're left with H. Now, as it turns out, do you think we could simplify this any further? Yes. Okay. Well, let's think about it this way. What about if I was to divide this by 5? What would that give me? Let's say 40, 49 maybe. Would it be 49? How many times does 5 go into 245? 5 times 40 is 200. Yep. And 5 times 9, so 245 divided by 5 is 49. Okay, so let's do that. Let's divide that by 5. And of course, if we divide the numerator by 5, we can just not divide the denominator by 5. So that's going to give us 49 over. Now, how many times does 5 go into 70? 14. Now, look. As it turns out, we can probably do it something else. Is there a number which goes into both 49 and 14? 7. Very good. So I could divide the top by 7 and the denominator by 7. And I reckon we're starting to get, we're going to get a prime number here, which means I've got 7 over 2 hours, if you like. So it doesn't always have to be a nice round integer, does it? Whole number. In this case, it's going to be 7 over 2 or 3.5 hours, isn't it? Okay, or 3.5 hours is also fine. The reason why I sort of suggest let's do it in fraction form is because, yes, 3.5 hours is an exact, there's no rounding off, okay? But if I had another fraction, there might be some rounding off. So I'll ask you to keep it as a fraction, but in this case, 3.5 is exactly 7 over 2. All right, so now it says state the length of the plumber's visit. Well, we've just solved for H, so what? Now we've got to answer the question. How long was the plumber there? 3.5 hours. Now, girls, as you can see, that this is exactly the same stuff that we've been doing. It's just that you've got to turn those words into equations and solve them. Okay, so I don't want you to think that all of a sudden we've got a whole new unit and we've got a test next week. This stuff is exactly the same as what you've been doing, but I will plead with you, you need to practice. You need to practice. All right, now I'm going to stop here. Okay, so that's only a short one of 6 minutes.